Good morning, comrades. You know what time it is. GMC time, baby. Today we have Jeff.
This is Robert, not Jeff, but if Jeff wants to announce himself, be my guest.
I'm Scott.
Oh.
And I'm Erin.
Never mind. I don't know what I'm thinking.
It's going to be a good show today. You can tell just by how it started. So you can listen to us every Tuesday at 8 o'clock in the morning. That's why we call it Good Morning Comrade. We want your mornings to be very good, and we know it will be if you're listening to us. So you can check us out on WHIV 102.3 FM. Check out our website, goodmorningcomrade.com, and check us out on social media, at Comrade Morning on Twitter. You can find us on Facebook and all the other stuff, too, at Good Morning Comrade. So what's going on, fellas and lady?
I want to give a shout out real quick to our newest Twitter follower, Jamie Peck of the Antifada. And if you're not listening to the Antifada, you can listen to that everywhere podcasts are available. It's an excellent podcast that deals with all kinds of millennial issues and also socialist feminism. So Jamie's also very active in the DSA. So are we. If you want to come down and do DSA things in New Orleans, you have an open invite.
And come be on the show, actually. You can just come on. We just basically have the door open for anybody who's cool.
Yeah, I'm only on the show because I brought beer one day. I'll never do it again, but...
And I'm just living the millennial dream.
Yeah.
Just podcasting.
This is how we socialize in 2019, I think. That's how people talk to one another. Nobody sort of has conversations in real life because they're too busy gaming. But when it comes to having conversations, they only take place on podcasts. This is a fact.
Yeah, I hadn't talked to Jeff for like 2 years, and we're brothers, but I just had to be on his podcast.
And this isn't even a podcast. It's a radio show, too.
Oh, yeah, it's on the radio.
So anyway, enough of that stuff. So what's going on, folks?
We watched the debates. They were pretty horrid. Well, at least the second night was real bad. First night was a little bit better. We had an alliance that I didn't think I would see, except in my dreams, of Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren supporting each other. And then we had in third place, we had God Queen, Orb Gang, Marianne Williamson bringing up the rear. If you listened to me the other night, I was a little bit buzzed, and I talked about I think Marianne Williamson won the debate, and I just want to go. Yeah, I said that. I will defend that because my thoughts are that she has the most.
What's that dark psychic energy? She infected you.
She has the highest ceiling, like. She has the most. She could make the most impact. Like, you know who Bernie is, you know who Elizabeth Warren is. So when everybody's like, "Oh, when Marianne Williamson says something, it's going to draw more attention." I thought her takes on reparations were really good. She had a terrible take about Medicare for all, but I watched her post interview with Cenk Uygur, and she said that she had been convinced that on the stage by Bernie and Warren to change her position on Medicare for all, which honestly, I mean, she doesn't have a chance to be president, but that showed, so that's why you can do that kind of thing in a political climate, but it also shows how strong, not will, but she has a lot of self-confidence, because really only strong people can like take in new information and then absorb that and change. And then I'm being serious, and then change your position based on new information, to where most people have a confirmation bias and they just they stick to whatever it is. No matter what new information they get, they just go down with the ship. And there's a word for that, and I can't remember what it is. It's not confirmation bias, but there's a word when you just will not change positions. No matter, it's sunk cost fallacy.
Yeah,
that's it. Sunk cost fallacy. So most people,
you mean you're bullheaded.
Most people have that, and they will not change their positions. That she can do that. I have a lot of respect for her, even though I wouldn't vote for her, obviously, over Bernie. Like, we all kind of joke about Orb Gang, but like there are some people that are serious about Orb Gang. And
I don't know. She's like measurably kind of bad.
Yeah.
So if you have to compare the Orb Gang and the Yang Gang, I'm taking the Orb Gang 10 times out of 10.
So,
I mean, my real quick, Erin.
I mean,
you're
one
gonna
is
get in there. My thing is, okay, let's pretend there was no Marianne Williamson. Where does the Orb Gang land? Because if the Orb Gang lands on Biden, then I'm all for the Orb Gang. But if the Orb Gang is peeling off votes from Bernie or even Warren, then I'm not pro.
I mean,
what were you gonna say, Erin?
Oh, sorry.
Orb Gang doesn't vote. I mean, that's like a thing.
They're too busy
But,
doing yoga.
Yeah, they're like not concerned with that. But she's got a lot. I mean, like, I do admire her ability to change her mind, but she's got like a lot of things she needs to change her mind about, like a lot.
Yeah,
and
like-
I'm not gonna lie, was on Orb Gang. Her Twitter is hilarious. I really, really love how she made Dave Rubin really uncomfortable. She was very condescending to him, and I'm just always really pro when women are condescending to men. It's like
Especially Dave
really
Rubin.
great. But I think I was just really like blinded by the crystals because she's like, objectively really terrible.
Yeah, she doesn't believe that people on like antidepressants are like strong people or something.
That's what I was gonna say. Isn't she in the club of?
Yeah.
Have you tried working out? Is that why you're suicidal?
Yeah,
Like, just go
she's-
lift some weights.
yeah, oh,
that doesn't work.
The
for something.
cure for depression is a good pair of running shoes.
She's like an anti-vaxxer. She's
Yeah.
she's very mindset oriented.
Yeah.
That's like, oh well, you're
She's like,
you're like fat or whatever because
Yeah.
you think you have a fat brain and
She's
fat
like-
mindset. It's like it's very ridiculous.
She's
And I
like,
think
my body has never failed me, so you must have to do exactly what I do.
Yeah, and she's just like a yoga mom, a
My
weird yoga
favorite-
mom who's an anti-vaxxer who probably sends her kids to like a private school, and she's definitely got that Karen energy.
Oh yeah. Oh, full.
She doesn't
Karen.
quite have the Karen energy that Kristen Gillibrand has, but she's got some Karen
I'm
energy.
like really pro Kristen Gillibrand, but my favorite of the Marianne Williamson like Twitter hot takes is she tweeted that if we wanted to know exactly what was happening in the world, we needed to rewatch Avatar, and I just felt really
right
good
after you
about
watch
that.
Crash.
Yeah. But you have to remember, she was Oprah's spiritual guru, so she's got some like really good.
Oh, she's like in that Dr. Oz vibe.
Yeah,
like-
she's like full Machiavellian. Like she is like
One of the
definitely
funniest
strategic.
One of the funniest
I mean,
things about
yes.
Oprah is she's just got an entire army of grifters whose career she made.
Yeah, I mean, like, she doesn't get advice from anybody. She can't turn into a brand.
Yeah, well, I mean, you don't underestimate the amount of like brain power and just straight strategy it takes to get into Oprah's inner circle.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think she could win some wars.
Yeah, probably.
Not that she would start any, but
I mean, to go on the other side of something y'all said, I actually really enjoyed the second night of debates on account of it was basically a slugfest, and whenever anybody like got like a loss of self-confidence, they're just like, I'll just make fun of Joe Biden and dump all over him. It's great.
The second night sucked because it didn't have John Delaney.
so counterpoint, Bennett sounds literally exactly like John C. Reilly, and I like
He looks like him too.
I could not. I was like, who does he sound like? And all of a sudden, it popped into my head, and it just. Full disclosure, I feel like the debates are super performative. We all
That's
know.
all they are.
Yeah, so it's like I don't actually watch them for policy.
They make
I
people
just
stupider.
watch them to make fun of the people I was not going to vote for anyway. Yeah, Bennett, I was like, yes.
Well, let's don't bury the lead then, and let's just go down one by one with
Before we
each of
move
the
off from
candidates.
Bennett, before we move up from Bennett, somebody at the bar last night had the best line about him is that his face was too small for the bones in his head.
Oh, no.
All right, well, I've actually pulled up a list off of, was it BuzzFeed? No, off of HuffPost, and it's all the candidates. So I will just announce a candidate. I'll say his name, and then we'll just go in from there and get everybody's thoughts about him. So we already got some. Bennett's first on this list. So John C. Reilly, he sounds like Dr. Brule from Tim and Eric, awesome show, great job, 100%. I called him sleepy most of the time. Like he's like the sleepiest man. I really don't even remember anything he said except for like he's obviously there. Like to crib Elizabeth Warren, like I don't know why he's there except to speak to the Republican Party. Like and even then, if you're speaking to the Republican Party, I don't know why you're speaking to them on that platform. Just go be a Republican. But what are other people's thoughts about him? Because I don't have anything besides neoliberal shill and sleepy man.
I forgot he existed until you brought him up, but he looks like someone's yearbook picture that just grew up and didn't change.
Yes, yeah. No, I keep having to be reminded of who people are.
Yeah.
And it's,
Yeah, this is one like because there's so many of these like regular, just samey looking guys in suits that are just like palette swaps of one another.
There's a lot of chaff.
But so Ben, he's the one. Was he the one, or was it Bullock that said that like they would not take like nuclear strike off the table last night?
Was that last night or the first night? Because that's when Elizabeth Warren got into it with somebody about nukes. I think that was the first night with Bullock. Okay. Because my thought was with Bullock was like, is he related to Seth Bullock, like from Deadwood? Like,
I love that guy.
I'd really like to know
Harvey
that.
Bullock from Batman.
I'm sure, but he
Bullock.
probably is. He should take the Ancestry.com test and give his DNA to the Mormons.
I mean,
see
he's
if
not
he's
that
related.
angry. Like, he's not always flexing like Seth Bullock.
I mean, he just was giving me really straight bro vibes, and not in like a fun man bun trying to like help people with their immigration rights. Like bro that probably is still gonna do a keg stand like at an adult party.
That's Bullock?
I just really was not feeling the vibes. I really wasn't. Yeah, Bullock.
Like
Unless I'm thinking about, they literally are all.
Well, let's just go down the list. Let's just go down the list. So, are we ready to put we're ready to put a close on to white guy number one?
I'll give him a number 2 out of 4.
Bennett? Okay, so
I'll give him a 2 out of 4 because like I don't remember him, but he doesn't make me super mad.
So,
yeah, no, that's fair. I mean,
yeah,
like if I remembered him, I would probably be a lot angrier. But he couldn't have said anything that offensive, or I was too focused on him sounding like John C. Reilly.
Yeah,
which I'm clearly still preoccupied with.
I mean, I'd rather vote for John C. Reilly.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay, so number 2 on the list. This is in no particular order except for alphabetical. So I guess that is a particular order. Would be Joe Biden. So what? No, seriously. So let's give him a chance. So based on last night's performance, what does everybody think of Joe Biden?
Bad.
I think he had a stroke on stage last night.
Oh no. I mean, it wouldn't bother me so bad his performance if he didn't constantly bring up like the fact that he worked with the president, and like he just kept bringing it up.
Well, he said that he worked with the president, but when like Cory Booker, who's the biggest turd in the punch bowl of all time. I hate Cory Booker because he's a big charter school guy, and he like actually has like Betsy DeVos like he's spoken at her American Federation of Children, and he's like way deep in the pocket of Big Pharma. He is awful. And anyway, he came in and he went in on Biden last night, and he sort of blew him up, which is hilarious. Like even this guy.
Well, the whole Biden thing to me is so strange because I watched it and he looked like he was doing really poorly the whole time. He was, he seemed like he had a stroke. He seemed really. His short answers were really kind of succinct, but like everything else, he would just kind of trail off. And then, but I was reading kind of reactions afterwards, and they were like, "Oh, Joe held his own. Wasn't the best, but he didn't do terrible." I was like, "What?" I was like, "Am I that biased that I was making that up, or what is happening right now?"
That sounds like damage control.
Yeah.
No, MSNBC does that shit because on the first night of debates, after like John Delaney got his ass whipped left, right, and center, like by everybody, like Chris Matthews or whoever's like, I think John Delaney had a great night.
Well, like I saw a really good tweet, and it was I can't remember who it was from, but it doesn't matter. It said something to sum up Joe Biden's performance and to compare him. I think to compare Joe Biden at this point to Bernie Sanders is political malpractice. Like Bernie Sanders, and we'll get to Bernie, but he's so far and ahead of Joe Biden in just everything as far as policy, not even policy, just being able to perform on a stage like that. And the reason why I'm saying that is because the whole thing of Joe Biden, Bernie Sanders being too old, Bernie Sanders being too white, and I said it before, as soon as Joe Biden announced, that turned into ghost vapor. And it's hilarious how the same people who were trying to run that game are now defending Joe Biden and have been defending Joe Biden. And the tweet, to go back to what I was saying, the tweet was, if Bernie Sanders would have said something like, go to Bernie 3030, because that's what Joe Biden said. Go to Joe Biden 33. Yeah, go to Joe Biden 3030.com. If Bernie would have said that, his campaign would be over. They'd be like, this man is senile. He cannot be on the stage. He cannot go against Trump. But everybody with Biden is just like, well, that's just Joe being Joe. That's just Joe with early stage Alzheimer's. And that's what's going to win against Trump. It's like, are you out your mind? And it goes back to what I've always said about the Democratic Party is they're fine with this. They're fine with Joe Biden. They're fine with the Bennett. They're fine with all the neoliberals because they're fine with losing to Trump. That's the key.
And real quick, I know we want to move on, but that entire healthcare discussion that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden had on the second night of the debate was the only thing about that was just to like say, well, because Kamala Harris's program is trash. It's got like, you know, a public option, but it's like these like very, very small time incremental crap. And like Joe Biden is like saying like, well, this is cost $3 trillion and it's impossible. And all that kind of a program does is serve to bring the healthcare conversation away from universal healthcare. Because those parameters are like essentially Kamala Harris has this shit plan. Sorry. And Kamala Harris has this very bad plan. And Joe Biden's like, that's insane, you know?
I guess I just honestly just don't understand. Like, I cannot wait to be retired. I'm like, I'm aspiring to it. I cannot wait. And the idea that you would come out of retirement being super well-liked Uncle Joe to get attacked and be told that like everything you've ever done in your career is terrible. That's my worst nightmare. And I just don't, I mean, besides a personality disorder, like I just truly don't understand why is he doing this?
Well, he's a narcissist.
Well, everybody told him like the whole time Hillary, like after Hillary, I was like, Joe, this is your fault. And then he's like, oh, well, my kid just died. Like I'm a miserable person. Like I'm having a bad time. And then like people like piling on top of him. He's like, well, I guess I got to do it now. Like it's just a ship you can't turn around.
Yeah. And I guess not to pile on to Joe, but and not to be.
Oh, I'm gonna pile on right after you're done.
To be the kind of the messy, non-political person, but Hunter Biden is so messy.
Oh no.
He had an affair with his brother's widow, and then cheated on her, got a woman pregnant, and then married a South African beauty queen. And that all happened within the last 2 years. And I'm literally obsessed with the story. I cannot stop reading.
Speaking of Seth Bullock, that's like some old timey stuff where it's like, oh, my brother died. I got to marry his wife now.
Yeah.
That's literally the plot of Deadwood.
Yeah.
I was like, could not stop reading it. I was like, this is the story. And then, of course, they had to spin it a couple of days later. It was like, oh, we will support Hunter through his addiction, and no matter what. And I was
we must defend Hunter.
Yeah, it was so. So I hope more comes out about that in the coming months.
Yeah, you want the mess. I agree.
Yeah.
So we're good. We're good with Joe. We're putting a cap on him. Next up, then, in alphabetical order, is Cory Booker. Now, I will say that Cory Booker has crazy eyes. Erin described it as vegan energy, much like was it Scott Pilgrim?
Not fair to vegans.
Scott Pilgrim versus the World. He's like, I'm better than you because I'm vegan.
That's not fair to Brandon Rao.
Other than that, like,
and to be fair, I did say vegan on bath salts. So
okay.
It was.
Yeah.
Thank you for clarifying.
Thank you.
After that horrible misquoting.
Not a slight against our cruelty-free diet having people.
I mean, the whole like dipping in the Kool-Aid and don't know the flavor. I haven't been on a schoolyard like you have, Jeff. I don't think kids say that anymore. I don't think anybody under the age of 40 says that. Like that was the whole dipping in the Kool-Aid and don't even know the flavor. That was corny when I was when it was relevant. It was corny.
I think people said it when I was in school, but it was like, what are you doing, man?
But it was nice to see him go after Joe Biden, and he went after him correctly. Like his assessment was correct. Of you don't get to burn the house down and then be like, well, now I'm going to put out the fire. That was a very correct assessment, tying him to the crime bill, and then also saying you don't get to cherry pick Obama's achievements, and then you get to shrug off his deficiencies. Like that was a very point in the attack line that I don't know. I'm seeing when I'm looking in the news right now. I see a lot of things as like, don't attack, or on Twitter. That's not really the news, but don't attack Obama's legacy. Obama was great, and I was like, was he though?
I mean,
when they asked him about being the reporter in chief, like Biden did the biggest. I mean, Biden did the. I'm back on Biden, but he did the biggest cop out of all, which was like. Well, my counsel to the president as vice president was private or whatever. It's like, you chicken, you little wimp. Like, this is pathetic. Anyway.
Who's next? Oh, sorry.
Oh, are we done? We're done with Booker.
We're done with, but no.
Ooh, that doesn't
Booker's fine.
bode well
Oh,
for.
sorry.
Keep piling on.
Doesn't bode well for his campaign. We're like, all right.
Didn't he say he wanted to punch like Trump in the face one time or something like that?
Yeah, and he had like that same vegan on bath salts energy during
Yeah.
it. He's also dating Rosario Dawson.
Oh, boo. Like she was a Bernie bro, and then she turned on everybody. Boo.
I can see that here. I can see that like almost like a supervillain origin story. I personally was in the room when that turn happened because it was in Philadelphia at the convention. It was a delegates only meeting, and Bernie Sanders came out, and Killer Mike was there, and so was Rosario Dawson. And then when Bernie gave over his delegates, he said, "Look, I'm going to give my delegates to Clinton because blah 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 blah." Everybody booed, and then Rosario Dawson came out and tried to say some nice words, and she got booed. And that was like the beginning. It was like watching Magneto, like at the concentration camp, get booed, and like you could see like
emails for this.
you could see like the beginning of his origin story, of her origin story turning into a villain. It was really sad.
Yeah, it's like Iron Man 3 when he's like, "Oh, I can't help you," and the guy just snaps.
One more thing about Cory Booker that I learned like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, wait,
He's got a brother named Kerry Booker who looks
no.
exactly like him. It's insane.
Oh.
Have y'all seen this? The Kerry Booker thing?
I was gonna say that that thing he said about running into a building, that was like a subliminal reminder of that time he ran into an on fire building.
Oh, I forgot about that. That
Yeah, he
was
saved the guy
like
from
a really
burning
nice
building.
story.
That's the one redeeming thing about Cory Booker. He destroyed Newark schools.
Oh well, no. His name is Corey, and he has a brother named Carrie. No wonder he's super corny. That's like, I mean, he wasn't. There was no way he wasn't going to be. And just since y'all can't see us, we're googling it right now, and it's Cory and Cary.
Oh, like
So like not even like a
Dead
K.
ringers for one
Yeah.
another.
Oh.
It's amazing.
just like the Castro brothers. But
Oh yeah, no.
They're twins.
yeah, no.
They did like the twin magic one time when he double booked one time.
Oh, no,
you didn't know? Okay, so let's move on to Castro.
Okay, so what if Castro like does twin magic and wins the presidency via pinfall?
I actually really like Castro. I
I
felt
like
like he
him
did
too.
such a good job in the first debates, and then I really liked what he had to say. And it's a shame that it's such a weird group this time because he's not going to get as much traction as he should.
He's probably got like his plan isn't as good as he doesn't have like a tested like good policy record on the border, but his rhetoric is at least decent. He talks like very humanely about how folks that are crossing like deserve to have family to like not be rounded up and all this other stuff. And to compare that with Biden, who basically said just like, what's wrong with rounding him up? Pretty much last night.
I mean, I used to live in Texas when the Castro brothers were coming to prominence, and you know, people liked them a lot. You know,
Right.
I mean, I had nothing really bad to say. And then one thing I really loved, it wasn't last night, but it was in the first debate when he was talking about reproductive justice. He specifically included trans people and the idea that trans men need abortions too often. Well, I don't know how often, but and I just really felt like I was like, oh, okay, cool. I love that this is on a national stage right now.
yeah. I mean, like how many times during that, like any of the debates, did anybody talk about like trans healthcare
Yeah,
and stuff like that?
I'm really sad that he's not gonna. That he's just not doing better. Like I'm annoyed.
He seems like he might
doesn't-
get a cabinet position or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what he's doing. He doesn't matter. He already was HUD secretary. He might get that again, but like functionally, he's just there, like looking for a job. And I mean, his politics are interchangeable with so many of those people too. It's just the rhetoric that he says. Anyway,
Who we got
so
next?
we got.
We're on the Bullock. So I'm gonna let everybody look at his picture because I probably couldn't pick him up out of a police lineup either.
Yeah.
So you can remember what he looks like, and this is a quote from him because again, I can't remember anything. We need to defeat Donald Trump in 2020 and defeat the corrupt system that lets campaign money drown out the people's voice so we can finally make good on the promise of a fair shot for everyone. The Montana governor said in his campaign announcement, quoting not BuzzFeed, what did I just say? HuffPo. So, on that, do you remember anything about Seth Bullock? I mean,
No.
I do.
Steve Bullock.
I do know that like you can't have like any kind of like candidacy being against anything. Didn't we learn that last time? Like you have to be for something and not against something.
No, we didn't learn anything. There was nothing to learn. Like, again, going back to we're just going to change the name of the show to Democrats are fine with losing. Like, that's the strategy.
Love to lose. It's great.
I'm going to be for nothing, and then we're just going to be to the tiniest bit of the left of the Republicans.
It's like that. It's like that Simpsons joke when they show a picture of the Democratic Party and they say, "We don't know how to win."
I mean, I actually do.
Mark Allen Derry's dropping in direction to the station. What's
I just
up,
want
baby?
to say that I always say that Democrats are paid losers.
Whoa.
They are paid to lose. They are the Washington Generals.
Oh,
the
man.
Globetrotters.
Hey, about to get dunked on.
The
Hey.
Globetrotters need to have another team to play. Otherwise, they can't do what they do. That other team are the Republicans, and the Democratic Party is the Washington Generals, and they're there purposely to lose.
Yeah,
Schumer's a loser. Pelosi's a loser. They're all losers.
I mean, you'd think
You're
they'd know
both
that. You'd think they'd know that bucket is confetti and not a big actual bucket of water.
I mean, to be fair, they try really hard. They
Yeah.
actually do try. The Washington Nationals do.
The Generals.
Or the
Nationals,
Generals.
too.
Oh, they tried so hard too. No, but I actually did remember Steve Bullock or Seth Bullock.
Steve,
Steve,
I'm goofing on you.
Steve.
You remembered everything
So,
but his name.
well, no, the reason and again, I remember him. It's a bad thing. He was giving me the drunk poli-sci major at a frat party, like explaining something I already knew to me.
So now you're the
So
official.
I'm just like, I was like, I have a visceral dislike of this human, and that's exactly why.
Erin, you're now the official energy describer of all these people. That's your job now.
You're our spiritual guru.
I am a non-problematic Marianne Williamson. If anybody wants to hire me to speak somewhere,
I don't know if you want that label just yet. Like,
All of the bad stuff, she doesn't have it. And all the good stuff, she does.
if she was woke,
yeah.
So, Jeff is going to get more beer. Just
Yeah,
drop
give me
the
one,
phone
please.
Charger. This is the best. So, here we are. Next one up is Pete Buttigieg, and I said his name correctly.
All right.
Buttigieg.
I have one thing to get off my chest.
Okay.
I dislike Pete all day. I don't like anything about him, but his policy people actually did their homework for this one.
I mean, I guess I don't think of him much on policy. The bright spot, and I'm trying to be generous and just not turn into like dirtbag left dunk fest. The bright spot about Pete Buttigieg is that he said if we don't enact any of these leftist policies, or he didn't use the word leftist. If we don't enact, I'm paraphrasing. If we don't enact any of these policies we're talking about on stage, the Republicans are going to call us crazy socialists. If we do, they're going to call us crazy socialists. And I was like, that's 100% right, and that's why the Democratic Party should be doing more. Our boss, Mark Allen, just said exactly why they don't do more, and he was 100% on point. But what I would like to hear from him after you say something as thought-provoking and groundbreaking on CNN like that was 100% spot on is, they're going to call us crazy socialists anyway, and that's why I'm dropping out of the race and supporting Bernie Sanders in his candidacy for president. And that's the only reaction that's the only thing I could think of, because if you believe that, I don't know, again, to crib Elizabeth Warren, I don't know why you're on that stage.
the reason he's on that stage is because he's going to be running for governor of Indiana, so he can't drop out yet.
Got to get that profile up, baby. Got to raise that. Yeah, raise that money. Nah, Howdy Doodie's trash. He's awful. All he does is get in there and he talks that stuff that y'all were just saying. He tries to sound like he actually cares about stuff, and then pushes more of the same trash that Biden wants to push and that Pelosi wants to push, and all of the mainstream Democrats. He's just packaged different.
So you're saying he talks that stuff, but he don't roll with it.
Pretty much. I mean, yeah. But the thing is, like, he should really, from that stuff he talks, Beto O'Rourke should be suing him for copyright infringement. If anything, like that's who like Beto should really be mad at. I could see like him trying to shiv him in the parking lot after. It was like, why you biting my style?
Well, it's not Buttigieg's fault that Beto sucks so much at being like good at anything.
Well, so the thing about Buttigieg that's like really interesting to me is not him, but is the idea that he said all that stuff about, we might as well just do stuff instead of being worried about being called socialists. And I think that's a generational divide. And I was listening to a podcast actually with AOC being interviewed, and she was saying, and same for me, we weren't alive during kind of the Red Scare. I was born like I can't remember exactly what year it was that the Berlin Wall fell down, but so we don't have the
89.
same 89. So yes, I was 2. We don't have the same connotations of like what it mean, like what the idea of being a socialist or a communist is. Like it's not something that's like scary.
I can't believe we're about to get married. Like I feel like I'm so much older than you because like you're so young.
I am.
Because it's like
I am.
I mean, that's pretty true.
It's okay, Papa.
That's pretty true around the horn because, like, I remember the Soviet Union is a thing that didn't happen when I was around. Like, it happened a couple years of my life, but like once I got put in the preschool, it was over.
Well, we're like 7 years difference, and I definitely remember sitting on the floor like the Berlin Wall coming down, and I remember
David Hasselhoff singing.
No, but here's capitalism for you: is like they were selling pieces of the Berlin Wall afterwards.
Oh yeah,
like you could buy that. It was like
it's capitalism now.
yeah, it was so bad.
As a person who just watched a lot of Baywatch on Amazon Prime, David Hasselhoff is really funny. Like he knew.
I'm not arguing that.
Like that show only existed because he bought it when it got canceled from NBC and was like, "I'm just gonna put another channel."
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he made a lot of money from that.
I was really. I mean, I don't know. I don't have a lot of feelings
We're professional
about.
radio doers here.
I don't have a lot of feelings about David Hasselhoff because a lot of good ones anyway. Because I used to be really into Knight Rider as a kid.
Yeah.
And then I tried to watch it again as an adult. I'm like, this is really bad.
You know what show I bet is really good
This is
now?
stupid.
Baywatch Nights. Probably
What
really
on
great.
earth? That's because you're like you're like into like 90s nostalgia.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, the 90s were trash Ola.
Yeah.
But like,
So super
Ooh,
fun,
that's my decade right there.
non-political story. Trivia is really big in DC. When I lived there, we used to go all the time. And one of my close friends was from Bangladesh, and he was like, "No, I'm going to kill it. All we had was American media. Like, I'm going to kill this." And he just tried to answer every question with Knight Rider, and they were
That was
literally
the entire culture.
The literal category was How I Met Your Mother. It was kind of a nightmare. He was very upset about the whole situation.
I feel very bad for him. I can empathize with that. Real quick, station ID. You're listening to WHIVLP New Orleans 102.3. Who's next?
well, y'all already kind of covered Julian
All right,
Castro.
next.
Do you want to keep it? Let's go
Yeah,
past
we did
Julian
a good job.
Hey, De Blasio.
Oh,
Free Pantaleo.
I
He
got-
got
he-
fire Pantaleo.
Like aside from Biden, he's the person who got destroyed the most with people bringing up the like the I can't breathe stuff.
yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Well, so that they were chanting, like, those were the people, and it was hard to tell what they were saying. They're
Yeah,
saying
yeah.
Fire Pantaleo, who's the cop who killed
You think-
Eric Garner in 2014, and they just had a recent DOJ investigation. They brought back like no charges, so it was another case of a cop strangling to death a black man in the streets of New York who was just selling Lucy cigarettes. It was on Staten Island. I was actually in New York when this was starting to blow up, and it was on every channel. It was like shocking. And the only person that went to jail from this entire thing is this dude named Ramsey Orta.
Yeah, the guy who
filmed it and had the video. The cops just like harassed him until they got him on like some BS drug charge.
he's on like he's
He's in solitary.
yeah.
I mean, I think he went after Biden like pretty good, but the fact that I can't remember anything specific means I have to concede to you guys.
Well,
At
that
the
he
end,
wasn't good.
at the end of the debate, De Blasio in his closing remarks said about Trump, he's like, "You're calling us socialist, Trump. Well, you're the socialist."
Man.
Which was
Really?
yeah, he did that.
I was checked out by that.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie about.
But he said you're the socialist of rich people. That's what he said. But I also
Ruling
have to say,
class
I'm
socialist.
going to give credit where credit is due. Biden got in a pretty good zinger on De Blasio because De Blasio was attacking Biden and saying, I don't even remember, saying something about the Democratic Party, and Biden just said, "Yeah, and I hope you're still with us." And I was like, "All right, we're getting petty."
That's what I'm
on
telling you.
stage.
That's why it was such
Throw
a
the Democratic Party in the trash.
That's why it was so
I
good
know.
because they were just like laying into each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, the New Yorkers don't like De Blasio because he is like he's terrible. He ran on this entire idea of reforming the cops, the police violence, a tale of two cities. I'm going to bring justice to New York, and then he becomes mayor, and he just puts in the broken windows policing guy as the chief of police. It was like he was complete fraud. He was a liar.
I mean, my thing is this though.
He talked the talk.
Okay, if I was to take him out of the presidential campaign and just as a mayor of New York, like, he is better. This is what
he's not Michael Bloomberg.
Yeah. He's not Giuliani. Like, he's like that's centrist nonsense. But the police unions hate him, so he's got to be doing something right.
I mean, didn't he murder a groundhog?
He did kill a groundhog. He on Groundhog Day, no less. That was Groundhog's Day.
He was
and he like held it up, and he's like 9 feet tall. So he held this groundhog up, and he like drops it, and that poor fucker died.
Oh yeah. I mean, honestly, he must.
He is so canceled.
How are you gonna decide that you're gonna be president? And you like. No one in your city likes you, and you murdered a groundhog.
Like, okay, so what's the game there? Because you just came out and said like Buttigieg is trying to run for governor. So what's De Blasio's game then? Because I'm as much as I'd like to be Machiavellian and have plans within plans like Dune, I don't see it. Y'all are better than this.
He wants a third term, and if he doesn't like get any traction right now, which he's not getting, he's going to lose to some really right wing awful monster.
Aww.
I also just generally default to like personality disorder because I can't imagine.
Yeah, these people are all narcissists. That's why they're running for president.
Like,
yeah,
good at this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're all narcissists. I think Pete Buttigieg is not a narcissist.
Like all the third stringers are just like, hey, maybe I will be president.
Yeah, I can make money off of a book or whatever.
Can you imagine? I second guess literally everything I do in my entire life, and just the idea of saying, you know what, the country needs me. Just me. Like that is literally insane to me.
This country has a me-sized hole in it. Just put me right in there, and I'll be running this thing.
That's like the Biden grift, I guess. If you call it a grift, I don't know what it is. I think it's just early stage dementia, and that's sad because if we're all old, like, whatever, I'm canceled. God.
Well, it's not just Biden though. Like the difference with Biden is like Biden has the patronage network and the proximity to Obama, who people for some reason still like. And keep it real. I mean, he's got the same exact political opinions as Pete Buttigieg. He just says it in 1970s language.
And he sounds like a Dick Tracy character.
Yeah, while his like brain is melting while he's talking and says, "Go to Joe 30330" or whatever. I mean, so next.
I mean, I was reading something today, and he's got like the worst like what do you call it? People like he's not doing anything. Like his. Like, Kamala Harris has got all this stuff going on.
She's got volunteers.
Yeah, she's got volunteers. Like,
I didn't say FICO
like,
score.
he doesn't have any...
The senator from MBMA has the worst FICO score.
No, like,
he's canceled.
He doesn't have any infrastructure. He's really phoning all this in. Like, he's not...
I'm waiting for him to come out and say, actually, don't apply for your credit card. What was the credit card company that gave up all that data? And they're
Capital One.
No, not Capital One.
Experian.
Experian, yeah. Don't file for Experian because we need to maintain our credit system.
Man, you see, seriously. So, like, the whole
By the way,
thing...
file for the Experian refund.
Yeah, like...
Tax that out.
The Experian refund class action lawsuit, like, Erin sent it to me, and I was like, okay, I trust Erin, but this could be some kind of Russian data mining operation.
Yeah.
And I was like, I did it, whatever. And then next thing I see, and maybe the next day or the same day, AOC retweeted it with "Get that money."
Yeah.
Girl, good looking out. Like, she is really looking out for the pros out here.
Also, PSA, it's going to make it sound like you either, if you need to accept their credit monitoring or the money, you probably already have credit monitoring through your credit card or bank or whatever, or even if you have Credit Karma.
Downloaded Mint.
Yeah,
Just
pick the money.
Yeah.
You probably already have it.
Yeah, I saw you put that on Facebook, and I was like, oh yeah, I looked at it, and they said my information wasn't stolen. This is Robert. I was like he did that, and I was like, hey Robert, I
file for it anyway.
It's like I put
Waste
myself
their
in. Yeah. I was like, all right, I'll do it. I can write my name on a computer.
The worst thing that can happen is that you don't get a check, and the best thing that can happen is you get a check.
Yeah. I could use $125 right now.
Who can?
That'll like double my bank account.
Damn,
It's hard out here for a podcaster.
We're laughing at Scott for being poor.
This truly is a millennial podcast.
You
Hashtag
guys.
big mood.
Yeah.
All right, next we got Delaney, which is... Okay.
Bill from King of the Hill.
So, yeah, Bill from King of the Hill. That's why you stole my thunder. I thought he was... Delaney... Okay, here's my thought about Delaney. Delaney is the guy that Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren would hire to do mock debates against Joe Biden. I felt he was a stand-in for Joe Biden. Like, and then afterwards, after he got creamed in that debate, he went on like Fox News and was like, I don't understand why everybody hates me.
Yeah.
See, I was getting from John Delaney corporate sexual harassment video in the quid pro quo section vibes.
Yeah.
Not a fan.
When they're like, John, you shouldn't do that to a coworker, and he just goes,
All right, are y'all with me on this? Okay, Delaney, stay in. Because as long as he's in there, he is just going to be a speed bag for these people who actually know what the hell's up.
Here's my thing.
I mean, like, if sorry.
I don't know. Go ahead. I heard somebody knock at the door.
Like, if like a fight broke out on stage and like somebody accidentally hit John Delaney, I feel like a bunch of straw would just come out.
I don't feel that. I'm going to say this now because that whole Delaney stay in thing, I don't feel like, even though we are exponentially growing as a podcast and a radio show, we don't have enough listeners yet to really influence anything. Maybe one day we will. Yeah. But here's my Machiavellian, like...
Hashtag Delaney stay in.
Here's my Machiavellian thing. Not just Delaney. Everyone stay in.
Oh, no. Tim Ryan stay in.
If you know somebody who genuinely like in your real life, who genuinely supports Delaney, support them. Be like, yeah, that's a great. I think he goes all the way.
At the debate.
He's awesome. Tulsi Gabbard the same way. Oh, awesome. Well, no, Tulsi's no.
Yeah,
that's no. Well, it's not bad. She peels votes away from Warren and Bernie. Yeah. Here's my strategy: is you get all the GOP light people still in who will just trade votes back and forth and peel off of Kamala Harris and Biden, and then.
Let's keep the
Warren,
scattered.
and then you keep them scattered, and then at the convention, who's ever ahead, Warren or Bernie, they just dump each other's delegates on each other, and then that's it. That brings them 50%, and it's over.
Yeah, you got to really split that cop vote.
So, but question: are we John Delaney stands or are we Howard Schultz stands? If push comes to shove,
where is Schultz? Did he drop out?
He's not running as a Democrat. He's running as a third party.
He's the threat. He's the kill switch, right?
And Tom Steyer is the other kill switch.
Yeah, he's the kill switch if Bernie wins the nomination. Like, Bernie's going to... Like, that's such a joke. Like, okay, let's talk about Howard Schultz for a minute. So Howard Schultz is threatening that he'll run independent. Do you think in a Bernie Sanders or even Elizabeth Warren ticket, like, they're at the top of the ticket and they win, they get the nomination, how many votes does Howard Schultz think he's going to peel off Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren against Donald Trump? He is out of his mind. It's almost like
69,420 votes.
What? Are you being serious?
No.
I'm just saying, like
69,420.
What? I'm just like, seriously, I don't understand. Like, you are not a threat. Like Bernie said, like, well, isn't that nice? You're not a threat at all.
I'm gonna reward you from that joke by talking about somebody told me that Delaney reminded them of Jim Webb. It reminds me of the tweet Jeff did.
I posted that last night.
He did a tweet. He said, "We got about Jim Webb like 3 years ago that said we got to keep up this Webb momentum."
Yeah. Well, Jim Webb, for those of you who don't remember 2016, who aren't like disease brain idiots like us, Jim Webb was this like right wing Democrat that ran in the last time, and he, in his closing statement in one of the debates he was in, talked about a time that he like murdered someone and watched them die in his eyes. He had like Terminator energy.
Yeah, big a boy named Sue energy.
Seriously, like get a hold of your Nana on Facebook and have her give $1 to Delaney to keep him in the race.
He sure is good looking.
We need that garbage energy to propel our chosen candidates to the top. That's something I'm looking for.
Or at the very least, like, because he'll be gone before the first primary starts by a million, by 100 miles. But at least have some, like, keep me entertained until the actual thing starts, until the actual primary begins.
He's not gonna concede. He's gonna evaporate like Infinity War.
I mean, Elizabeth Warren just took his heart out and just showed it to him. She literally said what everybody.
Sub-Zero.
That's Kano, not Sub-Zero.
Wow.
Oh. But she literally said what everybody thinks
Sub-Zero?
with all these debates. Sub-Zero was freeze you, rip your spine out. And then in the new one, what does he do? He freezes you and then I'm a Scorpion player anyway. I don't know.
It is easy. You just light on fire anyway.
Yeah, it's something cool. But
All right, so finish him.
no, but like she said, what everybody wanted to say was, why are you even here? I don't even understand what is your purpose here.
Yeah, if you're so nobody runs for president. She actually the statement that she said was untrue because she said no one runs for president to say what you can't do, and the truth of it is that so many people run for president saying what you can't do, but she just like dunked on all of these like Tim Ryan people who do that because all they want to do is like maintain their comfortable status quo.
Well, I mean, it's because she used to be a college professor, so she's used to dealing with like a bunch of 18-year-olds who just read Ayn Rand and have a lot of feelings about it.
Man,
so she's got a lot of practice.
I wish she'd have been Paul Ryan's like teacher, just to like dump on him.
I mean, that's a timeline I'd like to see. Honestly,
Yeah, that's like Erin and I before we came over here. We had like a Marvel what if scenario. It was like, what if Bill Clinton never met Hillary Clinton, and actually Hillary Clinton went to a small liberal arts college in Vermont and met Bernie Sanders. Like, how different would it be? But we're done with Delaney.
Yeah, we're at 45 minutes and we're still on the D's.
I know, this is
You're listening to
bad.
102.3 102.3 WHIVLP New Orleans, WHIVFM.com. I think we need to start doing some lightning round on this.
All right,
So,
Tulsi Gabbard.
She talks like she actually is anti-war, but she's not. She sucks.
If she does not play Rogue in the next X-Men movie, I riot. I am very thirsty for that gray streak of hair she has. And according to Twitter, she has ended Kamala Harris's campaign. We will see if that's a thing.
That didn't happen. But
No?
No, it didn't happen.
Well, Kamala was doing, when I was at the gym today and I was watching CNN or whatever on the
She did awful.
on the bike. Kamala was doing damage control. She was her people have been out there spinning all day. She's been out there and spinning all day doing interviews. So she hurt.
I mean,
I'm not
said
saying
too
she's
much.
ended. I'm just saying she
Gabbard
hurt.
literally said that Kamala Harris withheld information in a death row case.
That's true.
Pretty rough.
That's true.
It's pretty rough.
That is true.
Probably
I
not
just
something
don't-
she really wanted.
No,
to have
no.
out there.
I just don't think it's going to end her because she's got so much of the mainstream support that's actually so my sort of like Machiavellian thing on Harris. Can we just skip to Harris really quick?
Yeah.
Because she'd be next anyway, right?
No, we got Jill Brand.
Karen Energy for Gillibrand next.
No, I love her.
Okay.
We'll come back.
Aaron has thoughts.
All right, so Harris, essentially the whole thing between her and Biden is there to be sacrificed, and the next right person would be Kamala Harris. That's what's going to happen. Biden's the decoy.
She's the heir apparent.
I get that. No, I get that.
Okay, so Karen Energy for Gillibrand. What else?
Oh, I get that she's like Karen Energy, but also I don't need her to be president, but I really like her. She has, she's done a lot of really good stuff in the Senate. I cannot discount all of her work with sexual assault in the military. I can't discount that she was one of the first people to talk about Al Franken, because I don't
Me too,
understand
yeah.
this new
Lionization.
redemption tour. I'm not here for it.
That's stupid. And he's already finished and gone and done forever. Why do we need to dredge this whole
Yeah.
stupid thing up anyway?
Plus, isn't who replaced him like really good?
Yeah, we didn't. To be honest, I don't really actually know, but we didn't lose the seat. He was not that great. I mean, we could go on forever, but yeah, no, I didn't love all of her one-liners last night, but she did have some like really great disappointed mom energy at one point that
I'm going to talk to your manager.
deeply. Oh yeah, no, because it wasn't.
No, it was righteous.
It was straight disappointment.
Yeah.
It was like, I wish you would just yell at me, like energy.
Yeah, right. Look, I'm not going to get mad. I'm just going to say, please
I just
It was
really
pretty
expected
righteous.
a lot more of you.
Go to your room and just think about what you've done. You don't have to. I just suggest that you do it.
I still love you, but I'm not gonna lie that this hurt.
Yeah.
All right, so we got Hickenlooper. I can't tell you
Drink
a thing.
frack water and die.
I can't tell you a thing he said, but I just know it's all bad.
Can we look this up? Isn't that like Shawn Michaels' real last name?
Higginbottom.
No, it's Higginbottom.
The only thing you need to know about Hickenlooper is that he literally watched Deep Throat in the theaters with his mother.
Whoa!
That is a true
You
story.
know that?
No!
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
a true story that he relayed in his own book. So it wasn't like opposition research.
He just served it up
Yeah,
underhand.
he like laid it up.
But he's the guy that drank frack water.
Water.
He drank fracking fluid on like television to prove that it was safe.
Okay,
because he is such a fossil fuel monster.
He should be pushing this weird shit up front because like I kind of want to vote for him now.
No, he's awful.
It was an amusing anecdote of how he didn't know it was porn. I was like, did you not?
No.
Did you?
I watched Taxi Driver today and like. He goes to the movies with that girl, and he's like, "This is the kind of movies you go to all the time." He's like, "Yeah, this is the movies." Like
he's got big Travis Bickle energy.
Like, he didn't know what real movies were. He's like, "This is the movie. Like this is where people go." He's like, couples come here all the time.
I saw it. I was like, I'm so deeply uncomfortable in general.
All right, next up we are at Erin's favorite, Jay Inslee.
Daddy.
Zaddy J. I am like very pro.
Can I get a picture of this guy?
Yeah.
He's a man that looks like a box.
He kind of looks
with
like
the boxy glasses.
If
he
you play
Warby Parker or whatever.
If you play video games, he looks like the final boss of Metal Gear Rising. He looks like Senator Armstrong, Nanomachine's son.
He kind of looks like the guy from The Wire who like flicks McNulty off and he's like, This is for you, buddy.
If he doesn't, if you don't play video games and you only read comic books for some weird reason, he kind of looks like the Hulk's archenemy. Is it
Thunderbolt Ross?
Yeah, thank you.
He doesn't have the mustache though. He needs a mustache.
But no, he's cool. He said like a lot of good things about climate change. About like
single issue.
I do like him.
Like, we don't have time. Like we're done. Like
he's like 12 years.
He's like Joe. You talking about putting in Tesla charging stations? Like we need to get off of. Even electric energy, like we need, we have no time left for your foolishness.
We need a solar farm on the moon. Come on, man, run that power all the way.
Inslee's fine. He's not a stop at all costs type. He's not got no chance of winning, so there's no reason to stop him at all costs either. But like he's just kind of there. He's probably not going to be in the next debate.
He's like injecting like positive talking points.
Department of Energy guy, if we're still alive, like if we can make it.
Is he the guy who's like, we need a Department of Positivity?
I'm down with that.
Power of positivity.
That's what we need. Honestly, we need like
Kofi Kingston.
We need like
Diamond Dallas Page,
like Marianne Williamson and him together. It's like Orb Gang combined with like
Rage
Gang. Yeah, Rage Gang meets Orb Gang.
I know. All I know is I'm taking the $4.20 I've been donating monthly to Mike Gravel, and I'm switching it right on over to Zaddy J. So
I don't hate that at all. That's a good.
You know what? We actually probably should talk about Mike Gravel. Give him money. Actually, do give him money.
I think he just
even though it's probably over.
Today.
Yeah,
I think about it. Yeah, he just dropped out.
Bummer. You know,
Rip F.
Press F in the chats for
that's
Mike
the
Gravel.
Democratic Party and their garbage. Like he definitely qualified for that debate, and they just said no.
Froze him out.
They said no, you're not coming. How about
That's
that?
right. The teens are going to keep posting from his account, and it'll be fine.
Did he get hacked?
No. So if you don't understand this, Mike Gravel basically.
Yeah, let's just finish on this.
He ran for president in like the 1970s or 1980s, and he was like an extremely like anti-war sort of candidate, and he was like sort of like in the thick of it when like Nixon and Reagan and all these other jerks were on their rise, and so he's like this extremely old man. And some kids like got wind of sort of like what his story was by reading like Rick Perlstein's books.
Chapo kids.
Yeah, they were like Chapo like poster types, and they convinced this 80-something-year-old man who's had decades and decades of great positions for like anti-war and like really good stuff. And they were basically like, "We'll run your campaign. You're running for president."
Oh, no.
And the kids basically just like. They were given his Twitter account and they just posted, and they were the best posters online for about 2 months. It was great.
They're pretty awesome. Mike Gravel's a good guy. Like he doesn't have too much time left on this earth, so he's gonna go off to Valhalla proud and sure, and like the good things that he's done in this world. And we can all hope to be Mike Gravel's. Like WW, what would Mike Gravel do? Like that's what's up.
I mean, it's nice to see a candidacy like supported completely by White Claw.
So just as 20 hours ago, just as an example, Mike Gravel tweeted "F you" at Tom Perez. So I mean, that's what we're working with.
Old McConnell had a farm. E-I-E-I-O. So anyway, we got to the G's. Nobody else really matters except for like Sanders and Warren.
Yang gang.
No, we'll do it. No, we'll go on the next hour.
All right, fine. We'll do two-parters. Sorry. Yeah, that's fine. We'll do two parts. So you can listen to us any... our shows usually come out on Tuesdays and Thursdays. The live show is on Tuesday at 8 a.m. Good Morning Comrade. Check us out on 102.3 WHIVLP New Orleans. You could also check us out on Facebook. You could check us out on Twitter at Comrade Morning, etc. Love you. Bye.